Fire brigade.
Yeah, hello, hi. In the fire, flat 16 Grenfell Tower.
Sorry, a fire where?
Flat 16 Grenfell Tower.
Right, okay.
Quick.
The first call, a fire in a fridge in one flat. Within hours, it had consumed the West London council block. The biggest domestic fire in peacetime Britain, the death toll unthinkable. A national tragedy, yes, but no accident, say survivors.
I went into the bathroom and I wrapped a wet towel around my face, and then I ran out of my door.
Ed Daffan escaped from the 16th floor of Grenfell Tower. A prominent member of a residents' action group, he'd warned just months earlier of precisely this sort of terrible disaster.
The loss of 72 lives in a totally foreseeable, preventable, avoidable tragedy is just an absolutely horrific story.
The inquiry heard that horrific story, beginning with the most brutal facts of all, the lost lives.
He looked like he was just sleeping, as babies do. You know, at that moment, we felt like our hearts had broken.
Mehdi was the baby of the family, but it is difficult knowing that Mehdi will never be able to play with us ever again.
But it would go on over almost 7 years to try and unearth how the fire happened, how it was allowed to happen.
What emerged in the days and weeks after the fire is that the people of Grenfell had been let down long before it. The inquiry simply publicly exposed what they say they'd known all along, that the people didn't matter, that their concerns and complaints didn't matter, that only profit mattered.
Grenfell was a 70s-built concrete council block owned by the richest borough council in the country, Kensington and Chelsea. The council's plans to refurbish it promised a better, nicer place to live. But residents said from the beginning, their views, even concerns about safety, were ignored.
I've always maintained we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation if our landlord had treated us with respect in the first place. You know, they treated us like third-class citizens, that we weren't important enough for anyone to go and check whether the products they were putting on our buildings were safe or not.
Evidence to the inquiry pulled together a toxic tapestry of cost-cutting and deceit. The government's determination to water down regulations designed to help save lives. The cladding manufacturer Arconic knew their product was dangerous, but continued to sell it anyway. The insulation company Kingspan manipulated safety tests, then lied about the results. For the bereaved and survivors, it was indicative of a shameful indifference they felt even seeped through to the inquiry itself at times.
Could I respectfully remind you that you did promise that we would be away this morning, and I have changed my schedules to fit this in. I do have an extremely busy day meeting people, but this is more important than anything. But I would urge you to use your time wisely.
The inquiry, in a sense, told the families what they'd always felt, that there was this callous, really ugly disregard for them, for their families. Will you ever forgive them for that?
I don't think I can ever. I mean, I don't hold like a 24/7 grudge against them, but I can never forgive or kind of forget the callousness and the kind of that. It's just all of this is just so unnecessary. It could have been so avoided if they just treated us with some humanity and respect. And they failed to do that, and
in the most awful way.
In the most catastrophic way. That 72 people lost their lives. We lost our homes. A community was destroyed. You know, there's no moving on from something like that.
In a statement, Kensington and Chelsea Council admitted it should have done more to listen to residents and keep them safe before the fire, and to care for them in the aftermath. Just last week, fire raged through a tower block in East London. No one was hurt, and it's not yet clear how it took hold. But for Ed, the scene's so frighteningly reminiscent of Grenfell, it was a reminder of just how much is resting on tomorrow's report.
Standing underneath Grenfell Tower in the days and weeks after the fire, I was convinced it would be the catalyst for, very naively, for societal change, and that something so tragic, so devastating couldn't happen without things changing. A lot of people who this very evening will go to sleep in buildings that are unsafe, and 7 years after Grenfell, that just you know, if we were talking 6 months after Grenfell, possibly, but not 7 years after Grenfell. The change is too slow.
The hope is tomorrow's inquiry report will accelerate those changes. The government has promised to reflect on the findings with conviction and speed. But the survivors and bereaved also want it to accelerate prosecutions, to finally deliver the accountability that for 7 long years has been missing.
Jackie Long reporting there. And when asked about the evidence showing it manipulated test results, Kingspan told us it has apologised and taken measures to prevent recurrence. Arconic said it had acknowledged its role as one of the suppliers involved and that it would continue to engage in the legal process.